The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 2 new cases of Covid-19 in the country, putting the total number of confirmed cases at 42. The NCDC says one of the cases is in Lagos State and the other in Ogun. While one case is a returning traveler, the second case is said to be a contact of a previously confirmed case. A breakdown of the confirmed cases shows that Lagos now has 29, the FCT 7, Ogun 3, and Ekiti, Oyo, and Edo states have 1 case each. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, says all participants at the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award AMVCA held on March the 14th in Lagos may have come in contact with one of the confirmed cases in Lagos and are most likely to have been exposed to COVID-19 infection. The commissioner disclosed this on his Twitter handle a while ago, and he is asking everyone to self-isolate. Call the toll-free line, which is 08000 Corona, and ensure social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus. And talking about social distancing, the compliance with social distancing directive seems difficult in some sectors, one of which is the transportation sector. Our correspondent Ini John Mekwa visits some areas in Lagos State and reports that in most motor parks and markets, decisions of survival have in most cases exceeded staying safe.
Curtailing the spread of COVID-19 in the country is the priority of everyone at this time. Now, one of the strategies which has been brought forward is the issue of social distancing. In a state like Lagos State, where majority of the population depend on public transport, how will this work?
Most people are aware of the virus, and some have made effort to stay safe by practicing some of the safety measures. But sometimes necessity outweighs safety.
I'm just alighting from a bus now. Where I sat, I don't know, somebody that had contracted the virus sat down there. And like, I just came down and I started praying. I hope I have not contracted it.
The State Ministry of Transport has sent out measures in an effort to reduce the spread of the disease, which include that all operators and companies are expected to sanitize their parks and garages regularly and continuously. Also, all buses should be at least 60% capacity and not 100%.
We're also synergizing with NURTW, Lagos State Chapter, vis-a-vis all their branches. Let us also have this thing in all the public parks that we have.
Another area which social distancing may be difficult to implement is the market. Many here earn their living daily, and shutting down the market may have dire consequences for the economy and sustenance of the people.
Well, about 10 gates, we have locked 7 out of those 10 gates. We have 3 that's open so that we can monitor those who are going in and those who are going out. And we've gotten a sanitizer. This sanitizer, I can tell you today, we have used over 50 sanitizer today, just today alone. From like 7 o'clock in the morning when people start coming in till now.
The World Health Organization recommends at least 3 feet between people, along with constant washing of hands with water and soap and use of hand sanitizers. Ini John Mekwa reporting for Channels Television News.
In neighboring Ghana, health authorities have recorded 25 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 52. This is almost double the cases reported earlier on Tuesday. The patients have been isolated and are receiving treatment. Now, more than 1,000 people are in mandatory quarantine and nearly 600 contacts are being tracked. The country has already closed its borders, and the Tourism Authority has also shut all beaches indefinitely to contain the spread of the disease. 2 people have so far died from the virus in Ghana. And the Health Ministry in Rwanda has announced 17 new corona cases, the country's highest single-day increase in the number of confirmed infections. The country now has a total of 36 confirmed cases, which is the highest in the East African region. Rwanda is currently under total lockdown that was imposed on Sunday, the first sub-Saharan African country to take such a stringent measure to curb the spread of the virus. Uganda also has confirmed 8 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 9. All the new cases involve its nationals who recently traveled to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire have declared states of emergency over the outbreak of the coronavirus. Senegalese President Macky Sall said the state of emergency will start on Tuesday midnight, accompanied by a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. local time. The military and police have been ordered to execute the measures. The announcement was made in an address to the nation on Tuesday, in which Mr. Sall acknowledged that the country was struggling to contain the spread of the virus. Senegal has 79 confirmed cases of Covid-19. In Côte d'Ivoire, the President Alassane Ouattara said the government will introduce gradual confinement measures and a curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. local time on Tuesday. He has also ordered the closure of all bars and banned unauthorized movement between the capital, Abidjan, and the interior of the country. Moving down to South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced a nationwide lockdown to curb the spread of coronavirus in his country. The ban on movement is to begin at midnight on Thursday, March the 26th, up until April the 16th. Mr. Ramaphosa says the actions are in place to avert a humanitarian crisis. Non-essential service providers and regular citizens are to stay at home during that period. The Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, has also announced that the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in South Africa now stands at 554. 2 of the patients are in the ICU, while patient 0 and his wife have now been discharged.
It's been a week since President Cyril Ramaphosa declared a national state of disaster over the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot has changed in the past few weeks, especially the way people are allowed to do things. Physical or social distancing is still being strongly prescribed. In South Africa, over 9,000 tests have been carried out, and the number of positive outcomes or confirmed cases is still going up, standing at 274 as at Sunday night. Now, after a series of meetings with business and political leaders, as well as the National Command Council on COVID-19 here at the Union Buildings, President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation again. By the time that address came on Monday night, the confirmed cases in South Africa had jumped to 402.
I'm concerned that a rapid rise in infections will stretch our health services beyond what we can manage, and many people will not be able to access the care that they need. The National Coronavirus Command Council has decided to enforce a nationwide lockdown for 21 days with effect from midnight on Thursday, the 26th of March. This is a decisive measure to save lives of South Africans from infection and save the lives of hundreds of thousands of our people.
While this has been largely welcomed, some people are still worried.
There's 2 sides of the coin. The lockdown may be good in the sense that you're containing the spread of the disease, but on the other hand, we already have suffering as a nation economically, so I think the situation is going to worsen.
The coronavirus will go, but the economy of the country might be affected, so we need to see if there is another option better than the lockdown.
Yes, I will prefer that in terms of the safety. But the thing is, like, how are we going to survive? Like here in South Africa, people like us, we eat hand to mouth.
To those who are worried, President Cyril Ramaphosa outlined some measures to soften the added economic blows from the situation.
We're putting in place measures to mitigate the economic impact both of this disease and our economic response to it. We're in consultation on a proposal for a special dispensation for companies that are in distress because of COVID-19.
Meanwhile, at the Nigerian Consulate General in Johannesburg, where things had already been scaled down in line with government's health safety directives, the Consul General appealed to all Nigerians to comply.
If we spread it among ourselves, it could be very, very disastrous. So we must obey the rules and stay at home when it is absolutely necessary before we take a step out.
On the streets, people are prepping to be where they want to be locked down, while the South African National Defence Force prepares for deployment to help enforce that lockdown. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, scores of South Africans have been rushing to shops as panic buying intensified on Tuesday following President Cyril Ramaphosa's 21-day lockdown announcement due to begin from midnight on Thursday. Shoppers were seen buying various food essentials in bulk in fear of not being able to go to shops till next month. South Africa's number of confirmed cases reached 554 on Tuesday, the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. Public health experts are also worried that it could overwhelm the health system if infection rates continue to rise.
We've got children that we look after. We've got foster children that we need to feed. So we've just got the basic, and they know. There's no fancy foods. It's your normal healthy eating, just to keep going for the next 21 days, but no panic buying at all.
I think in this country, although we're doing this lockdown earlier than most other countries have, as it was pointed out, we have a tremendous township population that is extremely vulnerable. And if the coronavirus lets loose in the townships, there's going to be absolute carnage.
Tomorrow or by the 25th, it will be hectic here, which is already hectic already. So I'm just preparing, not actually, what do they call it, panic shopping. No, I'm just, you can see, it's basic stuff.
The government of Mauritius has also imposed a total lockdown in the tourist hotspot to curb the spread of coronavirus. The island nation, which has a population of 1.2 million, has reported 2 deaths from COVID-19 and 28 positive cases. People stocked up on food and other supplies ahead of Monday's official start of the lockdown. Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth said on Sunday that the measures were necessary because the country was dealing with what he describes as a war situation. Mr. Jugnauth said he was concerned that people were also not observing strict crowd control measures introduced by the government to help curb the spread of the respiratory virus. During the lockdown period, which will run until the 2nd of April, people will not be allowed to leave their houses unless they have a permit from the police commissioner. Ethiopia is seeking debt relief and emergency budgetary support for African countries to boost their response to the coronavirus outbreak on the continent. In its 3-point submission to the G20 group of countries, the Horn of Africa nation proposes a $150 billion emergency health financing and budgetary support from the World Bank. Ethiopia is also looking for support to the World Health Organization to strengthen public health delivery and emergency preparedness in Africa. The G20 is an annual forum of leaders from the countries with the largest and fastest growing economies, whose members account for 85% of the world's GDP and 2/3 of its population. The G20 leaders are expected to meet in a virtual summit later this week. In seeking debt relief, Ethiopia says Africa's ability to cushion its firms and workers from the impact of the pandemic is contained by its debt burden.